And you can get a glimpse here of the crown. This light here shows you there's going to be a Norwood 6. Here you can see the scarring from the previous surgery, and he's going to clearly be a Norwood 6. Already the pattern is there. We're going to look at when things go wrong. Usually on YouTube you've got thumbnails showing when things go right. This is a case that's been expounded upon, spoken about by influencers, and the title has usually been something like a 24-year-old or something has a hair transplant and doesn't take medication. Actually looking at the case and glancing through it, I can see it's quite a bit deeper. So this is going to be 3 hair transplant errors to really avoid. This guy was a model and quite active on Instagram, quite a young guy. Once you go through his photographs, you can see obviously the guy was quite well known, model, good looks, good hair. Seemingly that Instagram life looks like he's got a twin sister there, doesn't it? You can see from the first photograph up here that there's something gone on with the hairline, had a hair transplant. So you can see going through this that he's quite a young guy, and as you go through and onto his YouTube page, you can see that he has had a hair transplant, and then the video shaves off his hair. One thing that's really should be picked up on is he's losing hair at the age of 14. So you can see that he started losing hair from the age of 14. This is worrying because anyone who's been in consultations, you look at when people start to lose their hair, and 14 is very rare. It's the early part of adolescence, and if you start losing hair at 14, you know, the causes of hair loss are genetic, hormonal, stress, illness, diet. Once you lose it at 14, you can see obviously the body's going through hormonal changes. To lose hair at 14 is going to be very aggressive, and really you don't want to be thinking at all about surgery. He had surgery at 19. So the problem here, if I said to a 19-year-old, the skinny jeans you're wearing, you have to wear until you're 50. Do you think they'd get into them? I don't think so, because the body will change dramatically. And in fact, his body changed from 14 to 19 and then 19 to 24. So he had surgery at 19, and we are very strong in educating people on that hair loss is progressive. And if you've lost hair at 19, you really need to understand it's going to be aggressive loss. And medication is really going to be a key to that. So here he is with his surgery done, the hairline is transplanted. You can see it is if you've got a keen eye. It does wonders, doesn't it, having so much length on the hair to give that artificial coverage. And again, most people wouldn't know anything's wrong at this stage. As you go through his video, he has made himself very vulnerable. He's a very chirpy, very fun-loving kind of guy, very outgoing. And so what happens here, he starts to really make himself vulnerable and just shave this off. This is all this hair that's compensating, and you can see obviously here more the hairline and the transplant. So he starts shaving this off, and what hits you really is that he's had a very poor planned surgery. That the temple points are going to be going back. Here you can see the transplanted hair, the angles are all over the place. It's very harsh, no real end of the blending in the sense of any taper, and it's already the angles, it's disjointed from the temple points that now already eroding at 24. He had this at 19 when he probably had hair behind, couldn't tolerate medication, so this space of baldness and hair loss comes up. He's now got this front hairline that's going to be there for life unless he punches it out or lasers it out or does SMP, but this is now there for life. And in the video you can see it's become a little bit disjointed. Here you can see the angles are really out as they've done this transplant. You obviously would have had hair behind, but just the angulation of it, the calibre of the hair is very thick, it's very unnatural, the density is not right, the direction is out. And so with a keen eye you can really see that. And he's now shaving this long hair off, and you can see here the problem, this expanse of hair loss. He's thinning in the crown, and he's 24. Now, I know guys who are Norwood 6s by 40 had a lot of hair at 30. Again, there's no connection into the temples. He's got a good beard, so he's obviously got high DHT levels, which are good for the beard, not for the scalp. And again, here you can see the thinning and the quality of the hair in the crown, the midsection and the crown going back. So the first thing is age. The second thing really is that he couldn't tolerate medication. Here the donor's pristine because these clinics pretty much take all the way from the rear, the richer part. So the sides are pristine, weak temple points here, and there we are, both sides, not really a great hair transplant. As you go through it, what you can see and what I spotted earlier was his crown. The hair is very weak, and you can see here the crown is opening as well. So he's going to have aggressive loss. This is at 24 years of age. The hair transplant was at 19 that he seems to have camouflaged. Why weren't the doctors asking about your loss at 14? That's not that normal. Not tolerating medication and a poorly executed hair transplant. So being shaved off here, sides haven't been touched. His beard's very coarse compared to his scalp, and you can see here very unnatural. There's no blending in, and here you'd need extremely fine hairs, the finest hairs on your scalp at this point here, and that's not been done. So it's really just a standalone hairline now, with no real thought for the future. And he still seems chirpy, but this is going to cause real problems in life. What can you do? Well, with the loss he's going to have and not on medication, and I would imagine since this video his loss has continued to progress. Really, I think the best thing to do here would be to SMP everything and just make it look as natural as you can with a shaved look. Shaved it here, looks already better. But you can see how coarse this is compared to the fine hair in the temple areas. And so there's this young man a few years ago, and you can get a glimpse here of the crown. This light here shows you there's going to be a Norwood 6. Here you can see the scarring from the previous surgery, and he's going to clearly be a Norwood 6. Already the pattern is there at 24. And again, this side you can see this is all going to recede back. Scarring again in the donor, and his lateral humps are going to drop and his crown's going to open up. So 3 areas here, to reiterate, were really bad planning, very young to have hair loss, which is progressive, no medication, and going to a clinic that obviously didn't have the skill, the planning, or the ethics. So don't make that mistake. We spend time in consultations talking to young guys about hair transplantation and trying to help them. So the dream can become a nightmare, and they say that nightmares do last longer than dreams. So we really do hope this person can continue on to be positive, and if they need any assistance from us at BHR Clinic, then can come and see us for a consultation. And so don't be a victim. And thank you so much for this person for sharing his story, and I hope that it will be a help.